Cathie Wood and BlackRock just bought more Roblox. So we saw Cathie Wood and ARK Invest increase their holdings by 29% over the past month. So we got that update on 10/18. And then we also got a recent update from BlackRock, which increased their holdings by 15% roughly a month ago in their third largest holding fund, which is the iShares MSCI. So BlackRock is buying more, Cathie Wood's buying more. I'll talk about some other companies that are buying more of this stock as well. But with that being said, let's just talk about this most recent earnings report. So the company just reported record Q3 revenue. This is record revenue number for the company, obviously a positive for this stock. And then let's take a look more deeply into these numbers here. So revenue by region, I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it clearer. Revenue by region, we see that US is still making up a huge bulk of revenue. We're seeing 39% from Europe, or excuse me, this is a gain in every region. So seeing a pretty big jump in US, pretty big jump in Europe as well, and overall a pretty big jump in revenue. And then let's take a look at how this company really has four main expense buckets: their cost of revenue, cost to acquire customers, that sort of thing, developer exchange fees, personal costs, stock-based compensation, and then certain infrastructure and trust and safety. And then, unfortunately, the cost of revenue is increasing pretty drastically with revenue. So, don't love to see that our costs that are associated with garnering more revenue are increasing as well. That's not really a positive. And I'll get into some more interesting numbers here in a second. Developer exchange fees also at 170 million, pretty high as well. And then stock-based compensation is finally starting to fall off. So anytime you see a company that goes public, it's always very common within the first couple of years of that stock being public that you'll see a good amount of stock-based compensation coming out. You'll see a lot of insider selling even, but it's really just very common in newer companies. So that doesn't really concern me. And I think it's good that we're just starting to see that decline. That trend should continue. And then the trust and safety piece, also, we saw a decline there as well. And then if we look a bit deeper at the bookings, so we can see bookings saw a pretty big increase in this most recent quarter, about $60 million worth of increase, nothing to sneeze at. Bookings came in just below the highs of Q4 in 2022. And then net cash provided by operating activities also saw a pretty big jump. So that's good to have, a good amount of cash on hand. That's important for this company, especially given we're not EPS positive. Free cash flow turned positive for the quarter as well at $59 million. And then, so this is very important. Daily active users, all-time high. Anytime you have a company that is basically, selling time, essentially, right? They're selling a game. The more that they can get people on their game consistently, well, that just leads to more, dollars for that company. So Roblox is no different. Awesome to see the daily active users hit an all-time high for this company. Very important. And then if we broke it down kind of by region and age group, we can see that US and Canada makes up a large chunk of the daily active users. We can see that's actually the number one region, followed by APAC, so Asia basically. And we can see that this is actually the most, in terms of a percent, this is the most that US has kind of been. This is the largest chunk US has been in terms of users out of the total user base. And then if we look by age group, we can still see that we're pretty dominated with under 13-year-olds, right? So, roughly, I want to say 29% of, actually, let me fix that. That's not 29%, but basically a little under half of the daily active users are coming under 13 years old. So the younger user base has really been one of the biggest analyst bugaboos about this stock, to kind of put it that way. It's just unfortunate to see that a lot of the user base doesn't have much money, right? So you can't really monetize on those younger users. But it's worth noting that we did see at least a big jump up in over 13 as well in this past quarter. So it's good to see that users that are over 13 are coming more and more on to Roblox. So that's good to see. Definitely pales in comparison to where we were in Q3 of 2020. So in Q3 of 2020, the under 13 cohort actually outweighed all other users. Now we're seeing the over 13 cohort kind of start to pick up. Obviously, I mean, even those kids that were playing and they were 12 or 11 in 2020, well, they're getting older and they're still playing. So that is good to see. And then hours engaged also increased. So not just daily active users, but we're seeing people spend more time on average on Roblox. So this is all very good to see. And then bookings by region, you can see that breakdown there. So average bookings per daily active user by region, you can see that there. See the biggest jump up was in Europe. So with that being said, let's take a look at some other buyers of this stock here. So we talked about, Cathie Wood and her fund buying more of the stock. What I didn't cover is IEX Capital. You may not have heard of them, but they're actually the sixth largest holder of this stock, and they just increased their positions by 158%. We found that out 2 days ago on the 6th, so it's good to see that one of the largest shareholders are not throwing in the towel on the stock, they're buying more. So this is an active company, so definitely an active decision to buy more of the stock, just like ARK Invest. So awesome to see that large asset managers are continuing to buy more of the stock. Also, it's worth noting that we had one of the largest asset managers in Asia. Not even going to try to pronounce that. Sumuto Matushi. Definitely an L on that. But they increased their holdings by 20% in this past month or so. Actually, in the past week, I should say. So we're seeing one of the largest asset managers in Asia buy more of the stock. We're seeing ARK Invest buy more. We're seeing IEQ Capital, which is one of the largest holders for the stock, buy more. We're seeing BlackRock buy more as well. So the largest asset managers in the world are buying more of the stock. Definitely a positive for Roblox. And then with that being said, let's take a look at the chart and give a price prediction based on technical analysis. So we traded above all daily moving averages once again, and it's the first time we've been above all daily moving averages since July, so that is a bullish signal of momentum. Good to see there. And we also have been outperforming the broader market since basically mid-October, so good to see that outperformance streak has kind of continued. So positive for the company, set up in a pretty good spot. The question is, where do we go from here? And I really think shares are likely to rise up to about $46 in the coming weeks. And this is where shares had topped out in July. It's also where shares had topped out in April. And it's where shares had topped out in October and September of last year. So major level of resistance for this stock is around $46. So don't be shocked if we see a larger move over the coming weeks. As I predict, we could see somewhat of a pullback at around $46. Also, be careful, though. We are overbought according to RSI, so could she see somewhat of a short-term pullback in the next couple days, maybe a bit of a sideways trade for this, so we can see that this overbought RSI condition subsides. And then, like I said, over the next couple weeks to months, I think we probably move up to $46 for Roblox. So covered a lot in today's video. Would appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe, and I'll see you here next time.